mama saying. You understand? Listen. Fourth dimension blue is my cologne. All I did was say shalom and she offered me a phone number. Especially when I'm in the zone, I tell fire to the moan. Girl, you playing with the wrong. Check out my Hebrew drip, my Hebrew drip. You know I'm Hebrew fresh with my Hebrew chick, and you do not want tests. I got my Hebrew click. I know you can't understand, and I'm on some Hebrew shit. Check out my Hebrew drip, my Hebrew drip. Check out my Hebrew drip, my Hebrew drip. You know I'm Hebrew fresh with my Hebrew click. I know you can't understand, and I'm on some Hebrew shit. Check out my Hebrew drip. And you ain't never seen nothing like it with a drip so hard. Made her straight, she was dying cause a nigga cold as ice and sharper than a knife. I could change your whole life just by making you my white man. Look, that nigga got the boots, beard sprays, man. Look, that nigga got the garnet with the shades, man. Look, that nigga got the spikes on his armband, and he got the Sheila David on his charm, man. No, I'm not lucky, I'm blessed. Yes, my lady in the dress, they hating, we dead fresh. I'm making their ass sweat with all this masculinity. I can tell she feeling me, my swagger on infinity. And this ain't something you can buy. They asking who am I traded in my suit and tie. And I just got a garment from the captain. Catch me in the club smelling like black. Check out my Hebrew drip, my Hebrew drip. You know I'm Hebrew fresh with my Hebrew chick, and you do not want tests. I got my Hebrew click. I know you can't understand, and I'm on some Hebrew shit. Check out my Hebrew drip, my Hebrew drip. Check out my Hebrew drip, my Hebrew drip. You know I'm Hebrew fresh with my Hebrew click. I know you can't understand, and I'm on some Hebrew shit. Check out my Hebrew drip. Thy cheeks are comely with rows of jewels, thy neck with chains of gold. We will make thee borders of gold and studs of silver. Hebrew drip.
Let me tell you niggas by the whole mind. She was cool at first, but then the whole done lost the whole mind. She was coming over cooking, had a nigga eating right. Making chicken in the oven, boiling up some jasmine rice. By the time I would find that this hoe is always lying. And when you catch her in the lies, the bitch resort to crying. Realize she for the streets, it ain't take me much time. Had a nigga calling me, blowing up my fucking line. It was over before it started, this bitch was acting retarded. Telling me it's just a brother, yeah, as if I bought it. Better be cautious, these hoes is up for auction. You taking home a woman that gave a box to the office, and it's gonna be a movie the way she party with sauces. If you think that hoe for you, then you have really lost it. Sorry, I'm being honest, the truth gon' come out regardless. So let this be a reminder that some of these bitches garbage. Shit was cool for a week, but when you meet, you find out she for the streets. She gon' bust it for the cheek. She for the streets, leave that hoe for the streets. Don't pay for pussy cause it's weak. No, you can't come with me, you belong in the streets. You come up then she let another nigga beat. Man, I told you that these hoes for the streets.
$40 is $40 is $40. Say it 3 times, bet she show up, get that pussy poppin'. She'll put you in the friend zone. I think she done let 100 niggas run 100 yards through her end zone. I wore hand-me-down clothes, never hand-me-down hoes, so I refuse to let you hand-me-down those, yeah. She want a simp, I suppose, give her bread the whole loaf and buy a ring and propose the third row. Your open nose, she barely got on some clothes and fucking all of your bros and busting it when you gone, yeah. Man, that hoe gon' be a hole like JT said in that song. Might as well let her go, yeah. Hollering about she bad and how she is a snack, a woman with class, but she wash her face with her ass rag. Real ass bitch, give a fuck by the nigga, and none of you hoes can get a fuck out of nigga, yeah.
Shit was cool for a week, but when you meet, you find out she for the streets. She gon' bust it for the cheek. She for the streets, leave that hoe for the streets. Don't pay for pussy cause it's weak. No, you can't come with me, you belong in the streets. You come up then she let another nigga beat. Man, I told you that these hoes for the streets.
I met the bitch outside of my
complex. Bitch so fine, like she running for a contest. Ass so nice, yo, I'm thinking I should wipe that. Have a couple kids, settle down, yeah, I like that. But the bitch capping and acting like a straight brat. Never wanna settle down, let a nigga wipe her. Rather hit the club, shake their ass and get tossed up. Bitch straight nasty, no class sassy. Alley cat black foot, bitch get the backseat. Nothing but a gold digger, never should've fucked with her. Now she at the crib straight sleep cause she hungover. Bitches ain't shit, goddamn what's wrong with them? Just a waste of time, stupid bitches always lying. Always fucking for a dime, keep my money on my mind. Never trust no bitch, cause a bitch gon' be your bitch. And a bitch gon' switch and suck another nigga dick. Many hoes for the streets. Many hoes for the streets. Yeah, these hoes for the streets. I said these hoes for the streets. Many hoes for the streets. Many hoes for the streets. Yeah, these hoes for the streets. I said these hoes for the streets. Shit was cool for a week, but when you meet, you find out she for the streets. She gon' bust it for the cheek. She for the streets. Leave that hoe for the streets. Don't pay for pussy cause it's weak. No, you can't come with me. You belong in the streets. You cover the bitch, she let another nigga beat. Man, I told you that these hoes for the streets. Shit was cool for a week, but when you meet, you find out she for the streets. She gon' bust it for the cheek. She for the streets. Leave that hoe for the streets. Many hoes for the streets. Many hoes for the streets. Yeah, these hoes for the streets.
Shalom, Israel. We got an ISUPK started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General Yohana. And we are located here at 52. We're located here at 5261 Delmar Boulevard, Suite A. That's in St. Louis, Missouri, 63108. We have 2 call-in numbers for tonight's class if you want to call in, ask a question, or listen live. The 2 call-in numbers are 712-832-8330. The second number is 425-436-6260. The PIN number for both is 825-1636. All right. This and every Sunday we have Sharpen the Sword Radio. It's like from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Hosted by Captain DeGaulle Gabar. It's the most controversial radio show ever hit the city of St. Louis, right? And the call-in number for that is 712-832-8330. And the PIN number for that is 910-1409. All right. So tonight is Wednesday night. Wednesday night is the law class, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to when our laws were given to us as a nation, right? Not just when we had them as a family, as family rules, as a way we governed ourselves around other people, but when they became a national law, right? So we're going to start in the book of Exodus, and we're going to start at the 19th chapter and the first verse. The book of Exodus, chapter 19, verse 1. In the 3rd month, when the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Egypt, the same day they came into the wilderness of Sinai. So we see that it's giving us a time frame. It's giving us when this happened, right? So we had already been in the wilderness for 3 months. You know, the events at the Red Sea had happened, and we had, already seen the glory of the Most High God. But, we were already complaining before we even got to the mountain, right? So we see that we got to Mount Sinai in 3 months. Now, this is because we were a stiff-necked and stubborn, hard-headed people. The trip itself, it only would take, I think it's a couple days to a couple weeks to make normally by foot, right? And even if you were bringing a large caravan and you would have to travel slower for families and elderly people, it should only take about a month at max, right? But because we were already rebelling, we were already stiff-necked, and we were already going against Moses and the Most High for even bringing us to the wilderness, it took us longer, right? We'll keep going. Verse 2. For they were departed from Rephidim and were come into the desert of Sinai and had pitched in the wilderness, and there Israel camped before the mount. So we're all out here, the entire nation of Israel has come out of the land of Egypt, and now we're right outside the mount, outside of Mount Sinai, right? So we're not actually on it, but we're in the valley around, in front of it. Now, the Most High, he calls Moses to speak to him, and he reminds him of what he just did for him. He reminds him how he brought our people out of the land of Egypt. I'm going to pick back up at verse 5. Verse 5. Now, therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for the earth is mine. So we see that already the Most High is giving us this stipulation, right? We have to keep the law, statutes, and commandments that he's about to give us for us to become these people who are above everyone else, who will rule, or who rules everyone else, right? And when we step outside of the law, statutes, and commandments, when we don't follow his laws, that is how we end up on the bottom. Verse 6. And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and an holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. So, he's the Most High is telling us the benefits, right? So whenever you go into whenever you get into this is a contract, right? So whenever you get into a legal contract, you lay out all the terms and conditions, everything that you get as a part of joining into this contract, right? And then, of course, towards the end, you start to see where the penalties are, where the fines are, what you get for not keeping the contract. So right now, it's being laid out to Moses from the Most High what the terms of this contract are. Verse 7. And Moses came and called for the elders of the people, and laid before their faces all the words which the Lord commanded him. And all the people answered together and said, all that the Lord hath spoken, we will do. And Moses returned the words of the people unto the Lord. So, we had elders who went with Moses, right? And the elders answer for the massive amount of people, right? This wasn't not. They said it was approximately about 2 million of us that walked out of Egypt. A million to 2 million, it was some large number, but we did not have that many people voting or making their say on this. The rulers, the leaders, the elders of the tribes, the elders of the families, they came together and they made this decision. And then they went to Moses, and Moses went to the Most High. Right? All right. All right. Lord. Okay. All right. So, Moses, he went and took these words back to the Most High, right? And let's keep going. We're in verse 9. So this is the book of Exodus, chapter 19, verse 9. And the Lord said unto Moses, Lo, I come unto thee in a thick cloud, that the people may hear when I speak. It's like when I speak with thee, and believe thee forever. And Moses told these words unto the Lord. It's like the words of the people unto the Lord. So, the Most High is making a demonstration. He's making an open show, right? He's showing the people that, listen, I am speaking directly to Moses. Whatever he says, even if you didn't hear it come directly from me, you hear me right now talking to him. You know of no one else who talks directly to me, so you should believe him, and you should never doubt anything he says, right? But Israel is a stiff-necked people to this day, right? So we still buck up against what the Most High has obviously put in place as leadership for our people, right? Every fake Israelite group knows for a fact that the ISUPK is the only group on the planet Earth that teaches the truth, right? They all broke off from here. Because they rejected the order. They rejected the rank and file, right? They had an issue with their brothers, and then they fell out, and now they can't come back in because their pride won't allow them to get back in order, right? They've gone out and they've started their own thing and did their own thing, and now they have followers, right? They're somebody. But they rejected the clear leadership, right? They rejected the clear order that is in front of them, right? But it's the same thing we've always done. All right. Where we at? Verse 10. And the Lord said unto Moses, Go unto the people and sanctify them today and tomorrow, let them wash their clothes and be ready against the third day. For the third day the Lord will come down in the sight of the people upon Mount Sinai. So, the Most High is getting them prepared. You can't just come into the presence of the Most High God and not be clean, right? Not be cleansed, not have prepared yourself. You know what I mean? You cannot come. That's why you can't, come into the schools when you're unclean, right? Because you can't be in the presence of the Most High. You can't be at. See, the mountain was going to be. They didn't know it was at the time. It was going to be sacred because that is where the Most High came down. Right, these schools are sacred because this is where the Most High's will is done, is taught. It was where His priests and prophets gathered to understand Him and the laws better, and to teach the people. Right, this is a sacred thing. This is a sacred institution. Right, so you have to. They had to be cleansed. All right. Let's see. All right. Verse 12. And thou shalt set bounds unto the people round about, say, take heed to yourselves, that ye may go not up into the mount, or touch the border of it. Whosoever toucheth the mount shall surely be put to death. Right? So this is the mountain that Moses was going to go up to in a little bit, get the what's called the Ten Commandments, right? We weren't allowed to touch the mountain. We could stay in the valley, and they set up bounds unto the people, which means they set up an embankment, a border around, right? It's like whenever you see like one of those old military movies where they have like those spikes sticking out in different directions, it was to set up clear boundaries that you could not cross, so that way you would understand that you're not supposed to go past here, right? All right. Let's hop down. So those are the words that the Most High told to Moses. So Moses took it back to the people. He got them clean, and we're going to pick back up on verse 15. Book of Exodus, chapter 19, verse 15. And he said unto the people, be ready against the third day. Come not at your wives. So he's saying, to be ready, to be clean, to be sanctified, which means, to set up. Well, it also means to, set apart, to purify, for the Most High, right? So we understand that when it talks about, a man's seed of copulation coming out of him that makes him unclean. He's saying, don't just wash your clothes, don't just do the other things that make you unclean. Don't even go to your wife, right? You must be clean. This is a fast. This is a reason to stay away. You're dedicating yourself and cleansing yourself to receive this covenant from the Most High. All right. Verse 16. And it came to pass on the third day in the morning that there were thunders and lightning, and a thick cloud upon the mount, and the voice of the trumpet exceeded loud, so that all the people that was in the camp trembled. All right, so this things like that, like we have to try to put ourselves okay, so actually I see we have a question in the comments, so I'll get Yeah, I'll get to that question real quick. It's really simple, right? The question is, what is the difference? What is the difference between a Christian and us? It's very simple. We actually believe in the words of the Bible, and we follow the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Right? Christ never did away with the law, statutes, and commandments. We're supposed to follow everything that is written down in this book. Right? We're not supposed to sleep with other men's wives. The Christians do frequently. We're not supposed to divorce our wives except for adultery. Divorce. Christians are the reasons that the divorce rate are so high in the world, right? Not just in this country, but in the world. Homosexuality. The Bible is against homosexuality. The Christian church is very much for it. Whether it be openly as they are recently or as they used to be back in the day where they were for it, you had to be quiet about it. It was more like the military don't ask, don't tell. They knew you were doing it, but they didn't want, as long as it didn't come out in public right then, they were fine with it, right? In here, we believe in following the law, statutes, and commandments. In here, we accept you coming in filthy, but you must get yourself clean in here. In the Christian church, that stipulation is not in place. You don't have to clean yourself up. In fact, it's a benefit to the pastor if you don't clean yourself up in the Christian church, because that is how he keeps his revenue flowing, right? In every single way, the ISUPK is completely different than the Christian church, except for one. We use the same book. Now, we use the same book, but the problem is when you start to read the book, the ISUPK is the only one actually following the book. See, they use our book as a prop, right? It's not something they believe in. They don't actually believe in what Christ said. They don't believe in what Christ did. They believe in doing whatever they want to and finding one thing that they can pull out of here and try to make it seem like it endorses their lifestyle when it doesn't. Right. So, yeah, that is the main difference between the ISUPK and Christianity. It's every single thing. All right. Hope that answers your question. If you got another one, go ahead and feel free to go ahead and type it in. All right. We're going to hop back to this lesson. Okay. Now, what I was saying was, we have to understand that these people who are experiencing this, these people who are witnessing this, this is not a comic book. This is not a fairy tale land. The sea does not open up. The clouds do not become black and then burn mountains. That doesn't happen. So seeing all of these things, it is shocking to us. It is like you have to put yourself in their position. Right? These are awe-inspiring events. These are crazy things that we couldn't possibly imagine happening, and they're all happening in front of us, right? So, and this is why we sent Moses up there, because we as a collective were afraid. You know what I mean? Like, we not Slovakia, but Lakers ain't about to go investigate nothing. That's the Edomites. You know what I mean? Like that. We not going for that, right? So we see all of this stuff happening, and Moses seems to be getting out unscathed. So we keep sending him, and he just keeps going, right? And so whatever he says, we just agree to it, right? Now, does that mean that we're actually going to do it? Well, let's see, right? Maybe. Well, we all know that Israel doesn't, right? That's why we're in the position we're in today, because we won't follow the simplest of rules, right? The simplest of laws. So, and just to answer that next question that you asked in the comment section, Old Testament, New Testament, Apocrypha are all Christian concepts. The writers of this book did not see this collection of books as having a break in them, right? The Old Testament, the Apocrypha, the New Testament, it's all one continual work, right? It's one continual collection of books given by the Most High to prophets to write down, right? So, of course, we believe in the beginning of the book as well as the middle of the book and the end of the book. You can't understand the end of a book without understanding the beginning of the book. Again, modern Christians are the ones who split them up, but when the writers originally wrote them, and you have to think about it, when the writers of the New Testament were writing, all they didn't have the New Testament. All they had was what you call the Old Testament. So what they knew as scripture was just that, and they were doing their commentary and doing their further explanation into what the Old Testament had already written, right? The New Testament does not contradict the Old Testament because the New Testament just further explains and gives deeper meanings to the Old Testament. All right, now we got that out of the way. Let's go ahead and dive back in. You know what? We're going to start at go to verse 19. All right. Book of Exodus, chapter 19, verse 19. And when the voice of the trumpet sounded long and waxed louder and louder, Moses spake, and God answered him by voice. So again, we're all hearing this, right? We as a nation are all hearing that Moses is saying words, and the Most High God that descended on this mountain in this thick black cloud, you know, he's answering back. So we should understand and recognize who Moses is, right? We as a people, if we were intelligent as a people, we would have just paid attention and done whatever Moses told us to do from that point on, right? Gonna hop down to verse 23. Right, because right now, okay, so right before this, so right after this, we read that Moses went up to the mountain because the Most High called him to come up there, and this is when he's about to give him what's called the Ten Commandments, right? And then he tells him to bring everybody close, and then we're going to start at Moses' response in verse 23. And Moses said unto the Lord, the people cannot come up to Mount Sinai, for thou chargest us, saying, set bounds about the mountain and sanctify it. And the Lord said unto him, away, get thee down, and thou shalt come up, thou and Aaron with thee. But let not the priests and the people break through to come up to the Lord, lest he break forth upon them. So Moses went down unto the people and spake unto them. So, Moses, he went down and he started to tell the people, hey, look, I'm about to go up here, but the Most High said for y'all to stay within the bounds, right? And if you now what it means when it says but let not the priests and the people break through, that is exactly what it sounds like. Because to get up there, they would have to break down the barricades, right? They would have to get rid of the barricades to get up there. And then it says, lest he break forth upon them. Now, when it says to break forth upon them, it means to do violence. It means to, basically, the Most High is not playing about those boundaries. You stay in your place, and that's it. You come past that boundary, the Most High would do violence to you. Okay. Now I see the question, but the question itself doesn't make sense. Right? You might need to rephrase that or reword that because that doesn't make sense. I don't understand what that is saying. It looks like you just put a bunch of words together, and it what you're commenting on is not an instance in the Bible. So I'm not. You have to be more specific with a question like that. Put a chapter and verse that you're asking about, and I'll be able to address that clearer. All right, let's keep going. All right, so right after that, Moses comes up to the mountain, and the Most High gives him what we know as and what we call the Ten Commandments, right? So now, the book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 18. And all the people saw the thunderings, and the lightnings, and the noise of the trumpet, and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they removed and stood afar off. So yeah, we saw this happening. We walked away. We didn't want no parts. We moved back away from the mountain. Like when Moses told us about not breaking through. After we saw all of this, it wasn't. We weren't trying to break through. We were trying to get away. Like it. This is a. Oh, okay. That's why. Yeah, you're confused. You're learning confusion, right? You're learning. You're reading a book written by followers of a prophet who has no original prophecy in it. The only prophecy in that Quran is restated prophecy from the Bible. Like it is 100% plagiarized, and anyone who has any historical knowledge understands that he didn't know what he was talking about. He made up stories after he had heard them from Israelites. Like Muhammad is not a prophet, so that explains it. You're learning confusion. That's why. Okay. Again. All right, back to the lesson, verse 19. And they said unto Moses, Speak thou with us, and we will hear. But let not God speak with us, lest we die. See, we were afraid to death to speak to the Most High, right? So we asked Moses to speak for us, right? We've always had a representative, a king, or a high priest, or someone that represented us as a people, right? So, and in this case, Moses is in the stead of a high priest, right? He is the high priest, right, at this point, right? All right. All right, verse 20. And Moses said unto the people, Fear not, for God is come to prove you, and that his fear may be before your faces, that ye sin not. The Most High, he had a reason for this spectacle that he put on. He had a reason for this show. It was to try to make sure that we saw something so astounding that we would never want to cross the Most High. We would that's what I was saying before. This is not something that was just normal to these people. This was not something that was normal to us then. It's not normal now. But the Most High did this to give us the best chance he could, so that he tried to. It's like when you try to get your child to listen, so you might raise your voice, you might yell, you put on a show just to get them to not do what you told them not to do. Now, when they do it, then they gonna have to get the punishment. But before it happens, you do your best to try to make sure that they don't break the law that you've given them, right? And so that's what it's saying that the Most High was doing. Look, he's not going. He doesn't want to kill you, but he's trying to get you to understand that you need to do exactly what he says. You need to follow these laws, right? All right. Let's hop down to verse 23. Okay. So all right. So the first off, okay. So the question. So the question is coming from Genesis, the 19th chapter, the 30th through the 38th verse, right? Okay. First off, this is a report of what happened. This is not an endorsement of the action. This is a report of what happened. Second, you said God slept with his own children. Now, this is not God. This is Lot, the nephew of Abraham. And yeah, his daughters got him drunk, and they had two children, Moab and Ammon, who are the forefathers of the so-called Asian races. Like, and they have distinct features from this very act, which is Mongoloidism, right? In fact, let's get the definition of that word. Okay, so the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, of or Mongoloid, of or referring to a group of people formerly considered to constitute a race of humans having Asian ancestry and classified according to physical traits as the presence and as the presence of an epicanthal fold. All right. And the second one, that is dated and quote now offensive, means relating to or affected with Down syndrome, right? So again, this has nothing to do with something that the Most High approved. This has nothing to do with any of that. This is an act that shows the birth of these two nations of people, right? That's simply it. Um, Nowhere in the Bible does it say that that act was lawful, or that even that Lot, or his, or the Moabites or the Ammonites had to follow the law. They were never given the law. Yes, Lot was taught it most likely by his uncle who loved him and wanted the best for him, but he was never given the promises, so he never received a mandate to follow the law, right? All right. Back to Exodus. All right. All right, go hop down to verse 23. The book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 23. Ye shall not make with me gods of silver, neither shall you make unto you gods of gold. So this is talking about, building idols, right? Again, it immediately after giving the 10 commandments, he reiterated this, right? Because Israel loves to go into idol worship, right? That is what throws us off more than any other sin, is going into idol worship. All right, so immediately after giving us the 10 commandments, where the first, was it the first 5? Where the first part of the 10 commandments at the beginning of this chapter are all about, the Most High is your God. The Most High is the only God. That do not worship any other God. Do not reduce the Most High's name, or use it in vain. He has to keep repeating to us to not worship anything other than Him, right? Any God that is not a God, that is anything besides Him, right? All right. Verse. Right. Okay. And so then after that, it basically goes into how we're supposed to build our altars and how we're supposed to sacrifice uh, um, for our sins, and how we're supposed to make atonement, right? Let's see. The book of Exodus, chapter 21, verse 1. Now these are the judgments which thou shalt set before them. Right? And so Exodus, the 21st, 22nd, and the 23rd chapter are all different judgments that the Most High has given, right? These are all different laws, statutes, and commandments that the Most High is giving to Moses, right? So Moses didn't go up there and just get 10 commandments, right? These are more laws that were given, right? For an example, the book of Exodus, chapter 22, verse 1. If a man shall steal an ox or a sheep and kill it or sell it, he shall restore 5 oxen for an ox and 4 sheep for a sheep. It's just basically, these are the base laws, and these are the penalties and punishments for not keeping these laws, right? So again, this is not just what people would say would call the moral law. This is the Most High is establishing us as a nation, as a country, and He is giving us laws. So our laws come directly from the Most High. They're not, we sat around in a room at a round table and just came up with laws for ourselves. The Most High gave us laws, right? He gave us every little minute law that we would need to be able to govern our country, right? All right. So after he gave Moses all those laws, right? We're gonna pick up right there. The book of Exodus, chapter 24, verse 1. And he said unto Moses, come up unto the Lord, thou and Aaron and Nadab and Abihu and 70 of the elders of Israel, and worship ye afar off. Verse 2. And Moses alone shall come near the Lord, but they shall not come nigh, neither shall the people go up with them. So now, what's going on here is basically they're getting a council together, right? Now Moses is still the only one allowed to go up to the mountain and speak directly with the Most High. And speak directly with the Most High, but this council is convening away from the people, right? Because again, the Most High has given all of these laws and everything. It takes a while, so the council had dispersed because Moses had to go do his thing on his own, and they were just basically just waiting, right? So he's basically gathering everybody up who was already afar off, because when the people saw it, it said they moved afar off, right? So he got the 70 elders plus so 74 of them in total. Moses, Aaron, Nadab, Abihu, and the 70 elders, right? And alone Moses went up by himself, but the elders had come closer, right? Let's keep reading. Verse 3. And Moses came and told the people all the words of the Lord and all the judgments. And all the people answered with one voice and said, all the words of the Lord, it's like all of the words which the Lord hath said, we will do. So again, like I was saying, he had brought that council back together, and it's these 74 men. It's like it's 73 men, because Moses was the one presenting, who are agreeing to do this for all the people, right? And again, the Most High laid out the choice for us, right? We could have decided that we didn't want to do what the Most High said, and had we been honest, that's probably what they would have said. Nah, that sounds good and everything, and you know what? I mean, it is the best thing for us, and it would make life a lot easier. But we just gonna go ahead and do what we want to do over here, because that's all we ever do. what we did was we accepted, right? We said that we would do what the Most High said, and almost immediately after we turn our back on what we said to the Most High, right? Where am I at? 24. All right. Verse 4. And Moses wrote all the words of the Lord, and rose up early in the morning, and builded an altar under the hill, and 12 pillars, according to the 12 tribes of Israel. So Moses Moses wrote everything down, right? He wrote down all the laws that the Most High came up with, all the laws that he gave to our people, and then he wrote down that we accepted the laws and we accepted the terms and conditions that the Most High gave us for this contract, right? All right, and so then, of course, they as they had told them before how to build the altars and everything like that, they started building altars and started setting up sacrifices to the Most High. Right, we're gonna pick back up in verse 8. The book of Exodus, chapter 24, verse 8. And Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people, and said, Behold, the blood of the covenant, which the Lord hath made with you, concerning all these words. So, all right, and a covenant has to be signed with blood, right? Yeah. Actually, let me get that exact verse for you. All right. The book of Hebrews, chapter 9, verse 16. For where a testament is, there must also of necessity be the death of a testator. So this testament, this contract, it needed to be signed with blood, right? So the first testament was by the blood of bulls and goats, right, and rams and sheep, right. Now the New Testament, the next testament it's not like the first testament. It's not signed, or it's not, the testator was not an animal. It was not a creature that was sacrificed outside of its own will. It was our brother. It was the most honorable man amongst us. He sacrificed himself for our people, right? This is why that's why it's so different than the original one. Like the sheep, the goat, the bull, they were the sacrifice, but they didn't choose to be the sacrifice, right? They didn't go choose to die for the sins of Israel. We offered them up, right? But Christ, Yahushua Hamashiach in the Hebrew, it is different because he chose to die for us, right? He chose for his blood to sign our new contract. All right. All right, so let's keep going. All right, so verse 9. Then went up Moses and Aaron and Nadab and Abihu and 70 of the elders of Israel, and they saw the God of Israel, and there was under his feet, as it were, a paved work of sapphire stone, and as it were the body of heaven in his clearness. All right. So we see that they went up, you know what I mean, and they saw an image of the Most High, right? All right, Ed, let's keep going. All right, verse 11. And upon the nobles of the children of Israel he laid not his hand. Also they saw God, and did eat and drink. And the Lord said unto Moses, Come up into the mount, and be there, and I will give thee 3 tables of stone, and a law, and commandments which I have written, that thou mayest teach them. Right? So Moses was taken up, and the popular thought is he was given 2 tables, but we see here that it says that he was given 3 tables of stone. Right? All right, let's keep going. Verse 13. And Moses rose up, and his minister Joshua, and Moses went up into the mountain of God. And he said unto the elders, Tarry ye here for us, until we come again unto you. And behold, Aaron and Hur are with you. If any man have any matters to do, let him come unto them. See, Moses trusted his brother Aaron, right? He had already spoke on his behalf, because Moses had a speech. Moses had a speech impediment, right? So it was hard for him to speak sometimes. So Aaron was his mouthpiece. Aaron, the entire journey since Moses got back to Egypt, Aaron has been right by his side. So when he has to go up there to the mountain, he trusts Aaron to do what's right by the Most High, to do what is supposed to be done, because he's been here with him the whole time, right? Like he's supposed to be the most loyal. He's supposed to be able to have his brother's back, when he needs him, right? All right, let's keep going. All right, verse 15. And Moses went up into the mount, and a cloud covered the mount, and the glory of the Lord abode upon Mount Sinai. And the cloud covered it 6 days. And the 7th day he called unto Moses out of the midst of the cloud. And the sight of the glory of the Lord was like a devouring fire on the top of the mount in the eyes of the children of Israel. And Moses went into the midst of the cloud, and gat him up into the mountain. And Moses was in the mount 40 days and 40 nights. So, Moses went up there. He didn't just get, quote unquote 10 commandments. He got the law, statutes, and commandments. Moses wrote Genesis. The Most High had to tell Moses what happened. He had to tell him everything that happened. So what he was up there writing and transcribing, So what he was writing and transcribing was the words of the Most High God, right? Which is why a lot of people don't understand about Genesis being not being literal in a lot of places where they think they would be, right? Especially at the beginning of Genesis, where it talks about, the quote unquote creation story, right? People take that as like it was written down from a first hand account. It's written down by Moses, who the Most High told him what happened. So when he says the first day, the second day, the third day, it's the Most High that said it was the first day. So when we say that, a day unto the Lord is like 1,000 years, this is what we're talking about, especially in this case, because these aren't actual days that Moses went through. These were days that the Most High was telling Moses about, right? So we see that Moses went up there for 40 days and 40 nights. And up there he was getting and receiving all of these, laws, statutes, and commandments. Again, like I said, the creation story, all of that. He was getting that, writing that down. He's bringing it down he's about to bring it down to the people, so we can move on to this land that the Most High promised us. And we can get our nation up and going, right? We don't have to be in bondage anymore. We can be free now. All we got to do is follow these laws, right? All right. Let's keep reading. The book of Exodus, chapter 25, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, that that they bring me an offering of every man that giveth it willing with his heart. Ye shall take my offering, and this offering which ye shall take of them is gold and silver and brass. Right. So the Most High starts talking about different things for the offerings, because what he's about to start having them do is they're going to start building. Again, we're getting prepared for our nation, right? So we're getting prepared for the temple right now. This is what he's having us do to get prepared for having his temple. First was going to be in a tent, a tabernacle, so it's going to be mobile. And then once we get to our land, it's going to be a solid space, right? And so he tells them to bring gold and silver and brass and linen and all the finest things and the things that they would need to make the ark, right? So let's see. Okay, so we'll start at verse 8. Verse 8, and let them make me a sanctuary, that I may dwell among them, according to all that I show thee, after the pattern of the tabernacle, and the pattern of all the instruments thereof, even so shall ye make it. And they shall make an ark of shittim wood. 2 cubits and a half shall be the length thereof, and a cubit and a half the breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half the height thereof. All right, so this is talking about what is called the Ark of the Covenant, and this is talking about how we're supposed to build the tabernacle or start to get the sanctuary for the Most High set up, right? All right, and then it just goes through the different aspects of the ark itself. It's the shittim wood with the overlay made of gold, and then it's the rings on both sides of the boxes so they can carry the boxes. 4 rings altogether, right? All right, let's hop down to. Verse 31. That's like verse Verse 29. Okay. The book of Exodus, chapter 25, verse 29. And thou shalt make the dishes thereof, and spoons thereof, and cover thereof, and bowls thereof, to cover withal, of pure gold shalt thou make them. So right, the bowls and dishes and everything had to be overlaid with gold. Everything had to be overlaid with gold, right? The ark was overlaid with gold. The like I said, the spoons, the dishes, the bowls, they should all be overlaid with pure gold, right? We'll keep reading. Verse 30. And thou shalt set upon the table showbread before me always. Salah. And thou shalt make a candlestick of pure gold. Of beaten work shall the candlestick be made. His shaft and his branches and his bowls, it's like his shaft and his branches, his bowls, his knops, his flour shall be of the same. And 6 branches shall come out of the side of it. 3 branches of the candlestick out of one side, and 3 branches of the candlestick out of the other side. So this is, again, it's a very precise description of how the menorah should be built, or as it's more modernly pronounced, menorah. All right. The Most High, again, the Most High did not leave any of this stuff up to just what we think or how we feel it should be done. Right. Everything was specifically laid out by the Most High. Right. The from the shape to the size to the dimensions of every single thing, the Most High laid those out. Right. Which is why we didn't have, much quote unquote work to do. Right. The Most High laid everything out very plain and very simply for us. All we had to do was follow instructions, right? And that is Israel's hardest problem. That is the one demon Israel seems to want to hold on to and to love more than anything. Is disobedience, right? We love to not follow directions. Our paths would be so much easier and so much simpler in life, so much more simple in life, if we just followed directions. But we always want to come up with our own way. We always want to put our own spin on something. We always want to do something a little bit differently. But the Most High said, listen, just do what I tell you the exact way that I tell you, and that is your glory. That is your wealth. That is the greatest thing that I could ever create, is an Israelite who will follow my directions. Right? That's what the Most High rejoices over and loves the most, is when we stop acting like spoiled children and show our Father that we love him and follow his laws, statutes, and commandments. Not just say that we love him, but actually follow that up with action. All right. All right. Again, so it's speaking here about all of the metal work and everything that is going to be set up for the tool. See, so while Moses is getting ready to head up into the mountain, or is doing his 40 days and 40 nights in the mountain, this is what all the children of Israel are supposed to be doing, right? Let's see here. All right, but again, like I said, we decide that we want to keep disobeying what the Most High said. Again, He gave us simple, easy rules to follow, right? And so, we see that the Most High has given us orders of different things to make. I think it's about 14 chapters in total of everything that is metalwork, ironwork, cloth, everything that goes to building the temple, and all the things that we want He wants us to have for our nation as our symbols, our holy vestures, things like that. It goes to about 14 chapters, right? And so while we're supposed to be doing that, Moses is spending the 40 days and 40 nights with the Most High, all right? So now let's get to see what happened when it comes close to time for Moses to come down, right? The book of Exodus, chapter 32, verse 1. And when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron. So, first off, we saw that Moses was taking too long for us, right? Moses was taking too long for us, right? He was up there for 40 days and 40 nights, and we just thought that was a bit longer than he needed to be up there. And again, we just saw everything that the Most High did. Like, we just saw the cloud. We just heard and saw the thunder and lightning. We heard God speak from the cloud to Moses, right? But because he took a little bit longer, than what we wanted him to, we got impatient, right? And when Moses was leaving us, he told us, look, do y'all have any problems, go to Aaron, right? So we went to Aaron, right? And let's keep reading, right? And when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron and said unto him, up, make us gods, which shall go before us. As for Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what is become of him. So we said, look, we don't know what happened to Moses, so we want you to make us gods, right? We want you to make gods for us, right? Because again, we came from Egypt, and for us, we were idol worshipers, right? And I was actually talking to my rib about this the other day, and she was talking about, we were talking about transitioning from being in the world to being in the truth, right? And a lot of the issue is when you're raised a certain way, the societal culture that you grow up in has a strong hold on your personal identity, right? It becomes a part of who you are. So even if, let's say, you rebelled against that societal structure or that societal norm, your status as being a rebel or your thoughts of being in rebellion only apply to the society or the culture in which you're rebelling against. Because you may just be following other cultures. You may be following exactly to another societal norm for a different society. But in the one that you're in, it shapes the way you are and the way you think, right? So we saw all of this, and Moses was taking too long. So we went back to the culture that we had known. The Most High was giving us our own culture. He was giving us our own heritage, our own land. We we would be allowed to speak our own language, worship Him as the Most High, because we weren't allowed to where we were oppressed there, right? So we're trying to basically go through a culture shift. And when Moses took a little long, our people started to revert back to what we had raised. It's go for what you know, right? And that's a lot of the problem today, especially with the Christian church. A lot of Christians understand that Christianity is not the truth. They understand that Christianity is a lie. But, Big Mama always took me to church, and if it was good enough for Big Mama, it's good enough for me. Or my mama raised me in the church. I can't just leave the church. You grew up in a culture that was not your own and following practices that were not your own. So when you're coming out of that, you have to leave those things behind, right? So again, we see that, we went to Aaron, and Aaron, who was the one who was left in charge after Moses left, he was supposed to give us counsel, right? Now let's see what Aaron did, right? Verse 2. And Aaron said unto them, break off the golden earrings, which are in the ears of your wives, of your sons, and of your daughters, and bring them unto me. So, Aaron was like, all right, give me all the gold you got. Give me everything you got. Right? You bring them to me, I give you what you want. Even Aaron did not have that faith. He did not. He saw everything. He went up there and he was a part of the council. But even he, after a certain amount of time, he gave up hope. Right? He didn't know what to do, so he went back to what he had grown up knowing. All right. And actually, I see we are at the time. All right. With that, shalom, Israel.